One Saturday morning, getting back to zero. Good to have the weekend rolling. It was a long week. I don't know why. Maybe that was because I was in Vail last week, which I'm still sporting my new overly priced hat from last weekend. So maybe it was after that long weekend. The week seemed long, but got a great day today. Got a fun guest. I'm excited that she's here. We're gonna head out on the river later today with the family for some sun. I was just seeing in the glare, if you can see my cataract from my eye that's shining. I took a paintball to the eye years ago that saying you'll shoot your eye out. I was the kid that did almost shoot his eye out. I took off my mask for a brief second to defog it and took a paintball direct to the eye that I never even saw coming, and thought I was going to lose it. It was pretty rough afternoon, but everything went well. But I do have a reflective lens in there now. So great guest. We're going to have some fun. A couple quick announcements, which I don't know if you care about them or not, but it just makes me sound much more professional, like I'm doing some kind of news show. But I will put all this stuff up on the Facebook page and the website, gettingback20.com. But August 29th, so next week begins Alex McRob's, her Sober Curious Yoga. She is the one that I'm now doing yoga with. Fantastic program, but they've got a Sober Curious Yoga class, and we've got all the links on the website as well, and I'll put some more of that up. But starting the 29th, she is presenting, or her group is presenting, a Sober Curious Yoga Week, which I think is like 6 days worth of classes, workshops, different yoga stuff. I know Kathy, our Kathy C, is doing a class or a workshop, and I'm doing one. I think it's going to be Saturday the 4th on preparedness for sobriety, which should be some fun, just a workshop, but it's all free and there's all sorts of stuff. mindfullifepractice.com, I believe is it. I'm going to butcher it, but if you look up Sober Curious Yoga with Alex McRobs, you'll find it there. There's all sorts of chakras. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I don't even know what the hell a chakra is, but there's a bunch of them, so I'm sure it has something to do with yoga. But it's all yoga and mindful well-being stuff, and it's all free. So you can just click on it and see the schedule and pick what you'd like to join. And I think it's going to be some really good stuff. And then the other thing is I want to thank Wendy, who lives on a beach. If you know Wendy from TLC, she owns a luxurious beachfront property, and she sends pictures to us all the time about her life of luxury. But she reminded me that the NAADAC that September is recovery month. So she's sending me some purple bracelets, which I'll have, and I don't know, we'll send some of those out or something. We'll have some fun with it. But September is recovery month, so we'll have something there. I'll get all those up on the site as well. So with that, let's get the weekend rolling. Our guest is, I don't know her story. I had her on our panel, and she was a huge hit, and I got lots of comments that we needed to hear more from her. So begged, pleaded, and I did have to send some cash, but that's an undisclosed amount. I'm not going to go into that now. But Sherri, who requires a price tag for personal appearances, has decided to join us. Welcome to Getting Back to Zero. How you doing, Sherri?
Hi, Jeff. Really good.
Where you are living in where now?
I'm in Southwest Missouri.
Okay, so you're probably a Chief. I see the Mizzou mom. Are you a Chiefs fan?
Absolutely.
The Kansas City Chiefs. Did you see obviously watched the Super Bowl a year and a half ago?
Yes.
During that Super Bowl, during the first quarter of that Super Bowl, my daughter and her new boyfriend were picking me up and bringing me home from my big weekend debacle of Friday until that Super Bowl, whatever that was, Sunday, I guess, of a 3-day, not a good but that's how I met her. My daughter, they're getting married, but her new boyfriend. That's how I was introduced. I got to say hello to him after they pounded on the window and got me to wake up for about a minute and a half. So that was a nice, great little memory I gave my daughter that she'll be stuck with for the rest of her life. So once again, just another great gift that drinking has brought not only me, but to my loved ones.
There's so many.
But hey, I am so thrilled you're here. So I don't know, Sherri, your story, but you got dragged into a sobriety support show. So I'm guessing there might be some alcohol misuse in your past, possibly. What's your story? Let's hear something.
Well, Jeff, I needed help, and I found TLC.
That is the Luckiest Club, which is a fantastic support group led by Laura McCowan, if people don't know.
Well, about I've been drinking pretty heavy for 15 years, I guess. A couple of years ago, it came to my attention via my husband, and of course I knew too, that I had to do something. And I had been going to therapy and working with a really good counselor, and she specializes in addiction, and she was a big help to me. But I needed more. And I also, and this is the big key, I had not admitted that, the level of my problem, and that I wasn't going to be able to balance and moderate. I needed to quit. And I was not ready to accept that even the first couple of years with her, until one day it dawned on me, duh, I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict, and there is no way that I can cut down. There's no way that I can just have one. I can't. And so, I had done a lot of work with her, and it was really good, but the work you have to do yourself, and all by yourself, it's pretty daunting. I don't know how people do that. Anyway, I had read Laura's book. I was kind of starting a deep dive into all the Quit Lit and the podcasts and the blogs, and Laura's book was magical. It really
called
was.
The book is called The Luckiest Club. Oh, We Are the Luckiest. Yeah.
This is kind of my Bible. I mean, I've read it, I don't know how many times. And anyway, she was starting her online sobriety support group. I don't know, last spring, a year ago spring, I guess. I didn't join in until August or so, but that support was what I needed. I needed the connection. And once I was there, I knew I was in the right place. And that's what's got me sober and kept me sober.
When you first went into meeting your therapist, did you do it for you, or did you do that because other people were telling you needed to do it?
I did it for me. And I knew that my family was worried about me too. I kept my drinking fairly much to myself. But of course, here with my husband, he knows, and my daughter knew, and everybody was worried about me. But I had a physical that spring, and my blood work was so horrible. I had triglycerides of 700, and my doctor called me on the way home from getting my blood work done and said that
turn around, make a U-turn at the next.
Yes. If you don't want us to put you on cholesterol meds, you're gonna have to do something. My weight was an issue, my blood pressure, but that cholesterol number really got my attention. And she said, it's not really showing up in other areas except some elevated liver enzymes, clearly. But, she said, this is going to do nothing but get worse. And she knew my history. I had always been honest with her about the amount that I drank, which was a lot. And she said, you're going to have to do something. So I started in therapy, but even for a long time, as I said, with my therapist, I wasn't ready to quit until I gave it up. I had to surrender.
What were the issues you were having? I mean, the obvious ones are, I crashed my car, those, but what were you having internally or with family? What were in your head? Were you saying, hey, I got a problem?
I didn't really have a signature rock bottom like some people have. I never got a DUI. I didn't. It wasn't affecting my work. I retired from teaching a few years ago. So this reckoning has happened for me since I got out of the workplace. But Laura said once that when her drinking got really bad, that she knew she was so far out of integrity with herself that she felt like she couldn't get back. And that statement is spot on for me. I know when that was, and it wasn't just one day. It was the hundreds, thousands of nights waking up at 3 a.m, just feeling like a piece of shit that I was, knowing that I'd done it again, doing the sober CSI in the mornings and saying, who did I text? Who did I call? What kind of argument did I get into with the husband? My husband or my daughter or whoever would refer to things that we talked about the night before. I didn't remember. I mean, I was just a mess, and I was sick of myself. And there was a day right in there that I guess you could say was part of my bottom when my husband said, "Aren't you just so tired of being a drunk?"
Wow, that's
yeah.
And
yeah.
And tired is a great word for it, because it takes out the anger, but just puts it on us, because God, I was exhausted from it.
Yeah, I was. But him saying it was really a gift,
Mm-hmm.
That meant a lot to me. And he wasn't being cruel. I mean, the man has his own drinking to deal with, but for him to say that really did open my eyes. And I still see that as a gift. I remember that day, and I remember a kind of a turning at that time. So
I don't think I heard the words. I saw it in the look of just from the family. It was, the other one is, I praise the man or person, I'm sorry, that created air conditioning, and I curse the person that created a mirror, because I hated, that was the worst look of all.
Yeah.
So you didn't do a program, I know there's AA and all those, but you just on your own did this?
Yeah, I really did. And that's kind of what I've done in the past too. When I become passionate about something, I just I dive. And I did that several years ago. I converted to Catholicism, and I immersed myself in the books and church. And, I got into running about 18 years ago. And I set goals, and I read the books, and I listened to the podcasts, and I talked to people, and that's just, I don't know, just kind of my style. And when I decided that I wanted to do this, I just surrounded myself with as much as I could. And right now there are so many wonderful options out there, this whole pandemic time and Zoom, and we have so many tools. It's all, recovery is so much more accessible than it used to be. How could we not take advantage of this? I mean, I never had to drive myself to AA meetings or whatever, because we were all locked down anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here was this beautiful support online, and gosh, it just wrapped me in a hug. And I'd go to 3 or 4 meetings a day. Sometimes I still do. It was wonderful. I did go to one AA meeting, and I liked it very much. And I see the I see the value. I could even see maybe doing it one day, like going through it to supplement what I've already done. But when I went to the meeting, I wasn't really ready to say, "Hi, my name's Sherri, and I'm an alcoholic." I just didn't want that to be true, so I wasn't there yet. And then COVID happened, and TLC came along, and the rest is.
The show Cheers, which is not good to talk about because it's about a bar, but the theme song, isn't it nice to go to a place where everyone knows your name? And I think of that with support groups, because they might not know that I'm Jeff, but they know my story. They know who I am, even though they may not know, my name or personally.
Yeah.
We look at each other in these support groups. Yeah, I know who you are. I'm the same way. And it's nice. I might not even get something I can write down on paper instruction from a meeting, but I get that community. I'm not alone. I got, it's just a positive experience. I think it's just key. It's part of the reason why I do this Saturday morning thing with you and with whoever else wants to be on or watch, because it satisfies that. I go into the day feeling, you know what? Sherri's with me. She knows me. We're good.
Yeah.
So how long did you have any restarts, or was it a one time and done for you when you finally reached this point?
There was one restart, because I joined I joined at the beginning of August of last year, I guess, TLC. And I guess I had my first day one on August 10th. And then I drank once on September 16th. And
why? The magical question, or
I have no freaking idea. In fact, I got on one of Eric's meetings on the 17th, and I had posted on our closed Facebook group, for We Are the Luckiest. And you probably don't remember this, but actually your comment, Jeff, was a lot of what bolstered me that next day one. I started on August 10th. I drank on September 16th. I don't know why. I have no idea why. It was like I wasn't even in possession of my own self, Anyway, September 17th, there was nothing magical about it, except that when I woke up and I looked at myself, I was just sick of myself. And I didn't ever want to feel that way again. One of the things that you said, which I'm not kidding, it helped me so much, got me through the day, was, Sherri, what did you learn from this? If you learn something from it and you know that you don't want to go back, then use this to move forward. And those were powerful words to hear. And so I made me a list, a mile-long list of the way I felt that morning and all the shit that drinking had brought me. And I was told shortly after that, don't lose that list. When you're feeling a little wobbly, you need to look back at that list and say, do I want to feel like this again? Do I want to experience this crap again? So that's what I did. That list sits right here on my desk, and I've looked at it many times.
The beauty of that list, I'm thrilled that you say that, because my memory is not, it'll fade, but I'll hear people say, well, how are you, well, how are you going to feel tomorrow? Oh, I'll be hungover. And it's like, hangover, I couldn't care less about a hangover. That's gone in a few hours. I'm talking about how are you going to feel the stuff that you're going to remember. My daughter pounding on the window of my truck to wake up her dad to introduce me to her new boyfriend, to drive me home during the Super Bowl where they were having fun themselves. I hate that I remember that, and I pray to God I never forget it.
Yeah.
If I forget that, I'm in trouble. Because my mind's going to tell me, you know what, it wasn't so bad. You didn't get a DUI. Your kids are still talking to you. Your marriage is still good. You still have your job. It's not that bad. I can't, if I forget that stuff. So writing it down, and I think the detail, I always say paint the picture. I don't want to just say I'll feel like crap. No. That doesn't work for me. I got to paint. I got to feel those emotions. I got to know why are you going to feel like crap. I really got to get detailed if I have a chance of remembering it. So I love that you wrote that down.
I do too. And they say never forget your why. And I guess that list is full of whys, Yeah.
What's been the biggest struggle for you with sobriety?
I still, even at almost a year, I'll be a year next month, I still sometimes have the FOMO, the fear of missing out. I still romanticize my wine. If I see it on TV, I read it in books, I go out somewhere and there's someone nearby drinking what I drank. And I can be kind of triggered like that. And then I find myself pretty pissed off that I can't do that anymore. And I know what people say. Well, don't think of it as you can't do it. Think of you don't have to do that anymore. And I get that. And I do think of that quite often. I'm able to go to that place. I mean, I'm far enough along and solid enough, I think, that I can play that tape forward. And I know that I can't do that. I can't do that anymore. And if I sit with it and, I just get through it, which is what we do, right? I'm okay. But there are still times when that's really hard. I think one of the hardest times is planning trips and being on trips. We've been on 3 or 4 little trips, and since I've gotten sober, and it's hard, but it's mostly hard in that my husband still drinks and drinks quite a bit, and it's that socializing and drinking is still all around me all the time.
The trips, and I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling that way. When I was in Vail last weekend, when I bought this overpriced visor, seeing people, I did get ticked. We were up at the top and people were sitting around drinking beer at the top, a beautiful day. And I'm not going to deny it. I do get pissed that I can't join them and do that, because I know I would enjoy it. But then I got to say, but what happens next? What will happen? They're going to go down. Well, I don't know. I speak for them, but a normal person like my wife will go down and have a couple beers and then just get on with their day. And I wouldn't. No way, no how. That would start the cycle of now my only focus on life is getting the next beer. And it's not, and the next beer never ends. The next beer is, okay, well, where's the next beer? And then, there's no ending point for me except disaster. So it's true. I do get pissed, but so how do you handle those when you get pissed? How does your mind play it out? How do you deal with those moments? Which do happen.
They do happen, and I hope they don't happen forever, but hell, I don't know, they might. I mean, some people I know say, well, after a while, the urge passes, and some say they've been sober for years and still have those twinges and those feelings. So I don't know what to expect, if it will pass completely at some point. But I do know that it's not as hard as it used to be. I have a lot more resolve and peace and strength than I did have. I think I mentioned to you the other night in our panel talk that one of the ladies on TLC recently said that when she gets a craving, and I love this, she said, when I get a craving, I just play dead. She said, I just sit still and I let the feeling come, because I know the feeling's going to go. And usually within about 90 seconds, it passes. Mm-hmm. And I love the way she said that. There's a lot of wisdom in just playing dead, just sitting still and knowing that, that you're going to have the feelings, they're going to come, but they're not going to stay forever. So that makes it where I can keep going. I don't know. That's all I know.
Well, I see that too in myself, because, and that's such a great thing, is those moments when, I used to get, oh, that looks good. And then I went into pity party, poor me, woe is me, I can't drink. And it would stick with me for hours. Now what I'm finding is those things if they do pop up, which are less frequent, they're very short-lived, and I let them go and they're gone quickly, which is huge. But I also think it's people that give up sweets for weight reasons or whatnot, or blood pressure or health, whatever the thing. 10 years down the road, driving past a bakery or something, they're still going to look at it and say, yeah, you know what? That does look good, but I can't do it because it just doesn't work for me. I mean, it's not that it's a bakery. I used to know what that word meant. It's long gone. I think we're always going to have, yeah, sure, that looks good, but you know what? That's not a part of my life anymore. And it's over like that. So that's where I'm getting. And every time it happens, it goes away quicker and quicker. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking this is working because it's going the direction I want.
Yeah, when you're able to see far enough in the future, like the next day, gosh, it doesn't get old. Waking up in the mornings and knowing that I was good to myself the night before, that I was there for my family, and that I wasn't an asshole. That's good. I haven't gotten tired of that yet.
What's your number one tool that you use when a moment comes in where, a craving or traffic is just, and you're thinking, you know what, I know what I used to do. What's your go-to tool for those moments? Or tools?
I guess it's the connection. One of the best things about getting sober and being involved in this organization and making the friends that I have is that I've realized how good it feels to ask for help, right? And that is not a weakness. And people in this community, people in the recovery world, want to be there for you. So I think the first thing that I think about when I have those difficult times is, well, what would so-and-so say? Or, I get on my little WhatsApp group, or I text my friend Wendy, or, get outside. Sometimes I just sit still for a little while if I can, if I'm not driving or whatever. I'll sit on the porch, and I've learned to be quiet for a few minutes and let things come and go. But probably the biggest thing is asking for help. I mean, I still surround myself with lots of love and support, and go to lots of meetings. Almost every day I'm at least one meeting, and I don't know if I'll have to keep doing that or that's just right now, but it does feel good to ask for help and to get the help and to be helpful to others. It's
Yeah, I was
just,
going to say, are you getting asked for help these days from other people?
well, yeah, sometimes. I mean, even the people in my life that aren't in recovery, my husband, my daughter, friends. I haven't like come out on social or anything and said, "Hey, I'm sober 339 days," but I also don't keep it a secret, right? And when I do tell people, like I told my brothers and their wives a couple of months back what I was doing. And, we had a pretty open discussion about my recovery. And, and one of my sisters-in-law said, I knew there was something about you. You have looked completely different. I dropped 40 pounds. So that was kind of a big thing. But she said, you've looked for a while now so much brighter and more youthful, and you seem happier. And so that's nice, when people notice, and then that kind of makes you wanna keep going. I don't get a lot of requests for help, but I feel like when I'm on a meeting with TLC, or I'm in a meeting with some lady friends that I have, uh, that I'm just my presence is means something, just like all of their presence means something to me. So no, I mean, nobody's called me to do any uh, talks or anything like that, but but I like to think that I'm there,
It'll happen. It's not something for me that's planned. It's just chatting with someone, and the topic, you'll hear the questions, and you can realize, hey, this person probably is reaching out a little bit, and it's
Mhm.
so neat when you can reach back. I love it. Someone put in the chat, has anyone traded alcohol for anything else? Did you trade? Because I think as an alcoholic, I've got a need for compulsion of some kind,
Oh,
and
yeah.
maybe doing this show and what I do with it,
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into this. But did you trade anything for alcohol? Trade alcohol for anything?
Um, no, no, I guess not. I mean, recovery has become what all my hours are about. I mean, that's just, I mean, I have just dived into it. So, I mean, I guess that, just surrounding myself with all things sobriety. I did create this room that I'm sitting in. You can't really see, but that has been really important to me, and that was a good project for me this winter when there were some long hours. Was just creating a space that was all mine. It's my little Zen den,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been really helpful to create this space where I can come and do my Zoom meetings and my yoga online, and write and read and have my tea. And the husband says, "What is this, like your recovery enclave or something?" And it kind of is, but I guess that was something that I, you know, got pretty involved with for a while, and I still use it. It was a good thing to do, but no, not.
Yeah, you can tell I've got a little bit of a room that is my
Yes, you
recovery
do.
room behind me. The
Yeah.
TGI Friday of recovery rooms, I guess. It's hey, I see a spot of wall. We need to fill something there. But so where was I going to go with the I lost it. But when you I guess the struggles that you dealt with, but you hear the people say the word work. This is work, and you mentioned it, that recovery is work, and it is. But I think people hear the word work and they want to run. I hear work as a four-letter word for me, so I prefer not if I can avoid it. But the work, why do you I guess the point is, what are you getting from the work? Because I love what I get from the work. What are you getting from doing the work? Is it necessary now, or is it enjoyable?
It's both. It's both. I don't know. I mean, I feel obviously physically better. I feel stronger, and I feel so much gratitude for the amount of strength that I have now. I don't know. What do I get for the work? I'm just.
How about family? You mentioned you had a daughter. How are they responding to your recovery?
Really good. There's so much peace in knowing that they're not worried about me anymore. My husband is so proud of me. You know, in the beginning, he would say, "Well, you know, I don't like." When I went to that AA meeting, came home and told him that I'd gone, and he said, "Well, I don't think you need to go to an AA meeting. I mean, you're not an alcoholic. You just drink too much." Which, you know, that's kind of funny. But he didn't want to. I think he probably didn't want to look at his own drinking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't want me to have a big problem either. Of course, he knew that I did, but I, you know, when I did the work, and I think just by example, you know, he saw the changes in me, and he began to understand how serious it was and what a good thing I was doing for myself. And now, I mean, even just yesterday, he said, "You are a completely different person than when you were drinking. This is such a better version of yourself," you know. My daughter she's so proud of me. She is the best human I know. I mean, she's just always been an old soul, really mature for her age, even when she was a little girl. She just has all of her shit together. She's beautiful and she's bright, and she's never judged her mom for her problem. I mean, it's amazing, because there were lots of times that she could have said, I'm sick of you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that my therapist had me do early on was have my daughter write a letter and to me about the effects of my drinking and what she thought of my drinking. So she did.
Do you still have it?
I do. It's not handy, but
Do you
sure.
remember any of that? Can you share any of the points with us?
Yeah. In fact, my daughter ended up writing the letter to my addiction instead of to me, more or less. My therapist had suggested that I give my addiction a name, and to think of it like an evil presence, you know, which it is. And so early on, I named my wine witch, or whatever you want to call it, Cruella. And so when my daughter wrote me that letter talking about the effects of my drinking on her, she wrote it to Cruella, and what she thought of her and what she wanted her to do, and that she wanted her to leave my mom alone. And, you know, it was beautiful. She's a writer anyway, so it was very, very well done. And she hesitated to do that. I mean, I asked her one day on a walk, I said, "Okay, well, this is what the doctor wants me to do. Do you think that you can do this?" And she said that she could, but she said, "It's going to be really hard, because I don't want you to think that I'm faulting you in any way. I mean, I know that this is a problem for you that you haven't been able to control." And, you know, she's very sensitive. She didn't want me to feel attacked in any way. And I said, "No, be honest." And that's what she did. And it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. And that was very helpful to me. I knew all the things that she was going to say, that, how I had been absent and how it hurt her when we would talk about something one morning that we had talked about the night before and I had no recollection of it. And, things like that, all the things that you're ashamed of after, after you drink.
I love that you separated that, because I was just making notes for myself, because when I look in the mirror, I see me, and it's me that did this. It's me who is this mess. It's me. It's me. If I can identify it as it's Cruella that's doing this to me, it's a lot easier for me. Now I can give myself a break and focus my anger on Cruella,
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just beating Jeff up. Let's start beating up Cruella. I
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier for me to deal with. I'd rather look at it and get pissed at it than having to just look at myself. So I think that's a fantastic idea. I think separating that.
It was, and it's something that stuck with me. That that she wanted. It was a great idea. I'm sure she does that with all of her patients. But she said you need to think of this evil as a person or a real presence, and it really has helped to keep that in mind. Also, there's that, the fun song from 101 Dalmatians, and the whole character of her and how ugly she is with her long cigarette and her fingernails, and she, she's so hideous, and it's been a great mental image. We have referred to Cruella many, many times. My daughter will send me the song, it's good. It's been a good thing.
Did when you started your recovery, was there anything that you didn't want to have to do that you finally got, you know what, screw it, I give up, I'll give it a try? Anything that was tough for you that you had to just say? I mean, it could be even, some people just saying I'm an alcoholic is really tough, but or the other one is moderation. I think even my wife had said, and friends had said, why don't you can't you just have a couple? Because they didn't maybe want me to quit drinking, or I don't know. Was there any of those issues that you had?
Maybe articulating what I needed, like especially with my husband, because he's the one that I'm with all the time. But just, that camaraderie and that understanding that I have with people in the recovery community, like we're talking right now, it's like a whole language of our own, right? I mean, we're the only ones who really understand this. Yes. And I've been taught so much through TLC and the class that I took with Laura and therapy and so forth, that, all this talk of boundaries and so forth, how important that is. And I knew that I had to establish those things, but that was really hard to figure that out, to know how to say what I wanted or what I needed, and when I found out that I could do that, it made all the difference. And it made me more, I don't know, more credible and respected too. I mean, I remember when it wasn't that long ago, just earlier this summer, when I sat down with my husband and said, I need to tell you some things, and I need to ask you for some things. And luckily he was very open and very supportive, and by that time he saw a stronger Sherri and more resolute Sherri anyway, and he wants to do whatever he can to have me continue to be this way. He doesn't want the old me to come back. And I was able to say, to find my voice, I was able to find my voice and say, um, here's what I need. I would like to go, when we go out with friends, do social things. I don't really want to be the assumed designated driver every time, because I'd kind of fallen into that role. And
Yeah, I know that one all too well.
it's and it's fine sometimes if it's something that was my idea, something that I want to offer, but please don't assume that I'm just going to be that person. Um, when we were with certain friends, he would drink more, act differently, and once he reaches a certain point, he's not much fun, and it's annoying. It's not that I'm triggered or that I want to be doing what he's doing, but there are certain people that we hang out with that cause him to drink more. And
It's hard because there's, I certain people, I have no problem being around them when they're drinking until they get to a point, and then it's like, okay,
yeah,
you left the point of fun, and
yeah,
now this is just annoying. And I know you're having what you think is a great time, but I've
yeah.
heard that joke for the 38th time tonight, and it's still not funny. I'm out of here.
Yes,
So
it's intolerable, but it was really great to be able to say, that's really annoying. And so I need to be able to leave at a certain time, or I'm going to drive separately, or whatever. But when I began to understand those boundaries, it was so much easier. But that was hard. It was hard to find my voice until I had some confidence. And anyway,
yeah, I was wondering what was harder for you was saying, or voicing your boundaries or requests or needs, or having people actually hear what you're saying.
mhm,
Because I think that's they don't want to hear it. A lot of times our spouses or friends don't want to hear that they're losing their drinking friend, their drinking partner.
yeah,
They I've heard many times where a couple, the spouse doesn't want to be drinking alone, so they'll, no, you don't need to stop, you're okay. Well,
mhm,
because they don't want to be drinking alone at a bar. Maybe it's validation for their own drinking, I don't know. and
absolutely.
that's and that's tough. And I think a lot of times in a relationship, a partner can sacrifice their own, well, I'll drink even though I need to quit because I don't want to make them unhappy. So, putting ourselves first
Yeah,
is a difficult, choice sometimes.
it is, but it's also really empowering. Um, yeah, and as my therapist said to me once when I was talking to her about this, when I was telling her that I first joined TLC and I was Zooming all the time, and my husband would say, "My God, are you Zooming again? Is this like the third time today?" And
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "You just need to make yourself a little sign, and you just you stick it up there by your computer, and when he walks through and you're on a Zoom meeting, you just put up your sign that says." Yes, I'm Zooming. Leave me alone, or I'm closed right now, or whatever. And I did that, and he, now it's totally respected time. He'll say, "Well, do you want to eat at 5:30? Because I know you're Zooming at 6." Or
Mm-hmm.
and he helps me. He helps me protect that time. He knows how important it is, and he respects it. So
Yeah, my wife and my extended family, they all, oh, Jeff does his show that night. It's the show,
mhm.
which I know this isn't a show, but that was, I made the mistake with on Becky's. I called it Becky's show on
Yes.
TLC a year or so ago, and it stuck. So yeah, I know this is not a TV show, but it will always be referred to as a show.
Yeah.
But now everyone's using that term, and I don't even hear it. But they understand, this is my time, and I
Yeah.
need it. And I it's not a threat, but well, we can always go back to having I wasn't here at this time anyways. I was passed out or in the garage drinking by myself, isolating. So would you rather me doing something constructive or,
Exactly.
tearing myself down?
Exactly.
I always wonder about the rock bottom thing because I did not. I should have. I was a day away. I was an exit away. I was whatever from losing everything and hitting that rock bottom. How hard is it to do this before hitting a rock without hitting a rock bottom, I guess? Because I haven't lost my family. I haven't lost my job. I haven't gotten a DUI.
Mm-hmm.
So do I really need to do this or can I start on Monday?
Yeah. Well, for me, I didn't want to quit. I was just talking about this last night with my husband. Until I admitted, the severity of my problem and the truth, I didn't. I mean, I didn't bargain with God. I didn't say, uh, "Please help me stop." I didn't want to stop. Even when I went through 2 years of therapy, I didn't say, I'm coming here so you can help me stop drinking. I just kept lying to myself that I'd learn to balance, I'd learn to moderate, all those things. And it made it so much easier when, when he said to me that day, when my husband said, "Aren't you tired of being a drunk?" It wasn't until then um, that I was able to do anything. So I guess that was kind of a rock bottom. I don't know. I lost my
Did
train of
you
thought.
lose any friends through sobriety?
Um, there is one gal that's a really, she's been my best friend for years that I taught with, and I suppose she still is, but I've grown away from her largely because she is an alcoholic herself, and it's just not good for me to talk to her because she's usually drinking when I do talk to her, and it's been a lot easier to just step away from that, and maybe we'll be able to talk again one day. We haven't had a row or anything, but uh, yeah, I mean, she's kind of the only one. We still have our couple friends and so forth. I'm the one that doesn't drink now, but they're all really pretty understanding and doesn't affect them. So
Are you no problems with going out friends that are drinking?
it's a little bit annoying, but it's okay. I mean, I find that I kind of prefer to be alone. I find a lot of security, like being in the pandemic, being sheltered it's been really nice and safe, and been kind of cocooned at home. I think I prefer that. I'm not nearly as social a person as my husband is, but we're learning to navigate that, you know, to go out, like we went out to dinner last weekend with some friends, and so it's not like my favorite thing to do because it's still hard to see everybody else drinking, but I can do it. And you have to go on, right? I mean, you can't just hold up in your house forever. So I'm sort of pushing myself to
I
do that.
was I was so crushed with anxiety, um, panic attacks, social anxiety. I mean, for years, there was a big learning to trust myself or believe that I could even do that. I had to learn how to do social situations sober, and they scared the hell out of me. The thought of being somewhere at not a party, but a get together and not having alcohol to get me through it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
It's almost, I almost felt like I wanted to have an emergency cooler with me at all times, where if it got bad, I could. But I don't know if that's because I was so destroyed by anxiety and so overcome but I had to learn how to deal with. I had to learn to deal with social anxieties all over again.
Yeah, me too.
And find out what is normal versus what is, irrational.
Yeah. It was so hard for me. It still is hard. If I'm going somewhere out or whatever to dinner, I mean, I would always have to plan my drinking beforehand. Do I have enough? How am I going to get it when I get there? Is it an event where I take my own? Is that acceptable? Or we're going to a restaurant? How many glasses of wine is too much to, where I look like a lush? I always wanted to drink before I went somewhere and drink on the way somewhere, in the car. And then, it was so consuming, right? It just took up all my headspace, planning for the drinking, doing the drinking, how long can I drink? And then how am I gonna feel better tomorrow?
Did drinking isolate you? Because I know it drove me to. It definitely it drove me to drinking alone, and then more and more as it went off. Where
yes.
I think I'm very content being by myself, and I think that's because I did that for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't drink around you like I wanted to drink.
Mm-hmm.
I did drink around you, but it wasn't at the pace I wanted to drink. It wasn't the quantity. It wasn't any of that. I could only drink like I wanted to when I was alone. So I learned to be happy alone. And that's did it isolate you as well?
Absolutely.
So it turned you from what you maybe once were?
Yeah. I mean, I was never like a go out in the bars kind of girl. I mean, I did that sometimes. I mean, like a few times in college and so forth, but I didn't really get my drinking career going until about 15 years ago.
Do you know what prompted it or bumped it up?
It was getting worse, but definitely continued into a really bad downward spiral after I retired, because there was more alone time. My husband would travel a lot, go out socially for work a lot. My daughter left home, went to college, empty nesting. We moved, built a house, and moved out of the place that we'd been for 18 years. Lots of changes, lots of those typical things that can trigger people of my age, I guess. Yeah, all of that contributed, and I don't know what the reason was, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about what made me drink so much or what made it worse, but I don't think it matters. I mean, ultimately, I became addicted to an addictive substance, right? And I didn't suffer any big T trauma, really even any little T trauma.
Cruella came a knocking on the door.
That bitch just came in, and yeah. And
for me, I'm kind of been, the word purpose is my purpose when my kids grew up and I stopped coaching. Now I was drinking during that time, but my reason for drinking became much more negative when I became an empty nest, or not when we became empty nesters, because I kind of lost my purpose. My purpose was raising kids. Now yours was teaching, and you had the daughter at home.
Yeah.
I coached every sport there was. I was always doing something with the kids, and they no longer needed me. Bingo, idle time. I got, and maybe I loved being with them. I didn't love being with myself because I couldn't stand what the anxiety had done to me, who I had become, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I no longer had the escape from myself of being with someone else. I had
Yes.
to live with myself, and now the alcohol became massive.
Yeah. That definitely was true for me. Time alone was just, I was free, to drink like I wanted. And then it just became so pitiful. It took more and more, and I was hiding, and there were wine bottles under the cauliflower and lettuce in the crisper drawer, and it was exhausting. It was exhausting hiding and lying, and everybody knew anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I really wasn't as good at all of that as I thought I was. And
I don't know if you saw the pic, but I found a probably 2.5-year-old beer hidden on our boat the other day.
yes, yes.
In an electrical panel. I was actually quite impressed with that was a damn good hiding spot. In fact, it was so good, I don't even remember hiding it there, but it was, we could have done DNA testing if we needed, and I'm sure I was guilty, but I was still amazed when I found it. So it's crazy. But well, look, last question. What are your daily needs to keep this thing rolling? What do you do?
The connection is everything. Just remembering the truth, remembering that list of the ways that I don't want to feel again. Sometimes actually physically going to that list and looking at it. But meetings are just everything. And I've got some lady friends that I've gotten really close to. My Irish friend Susan, you may remember her from TLC.
Oh yeah.
She sends a little email every day, and it's so motivational. She just does this out of the good of her heart, kind of like you're
She
doing.
is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, she is a beacon. Anyway, those little things that keep me connected are everything. They're just everything. Routine, doing the same things every day, taking care of myself.
This is part of what I'm going to do for the workshop that I'm going to do with that for Alex with her sober curious yoga, that seminar week. But I'm trying to figure out what I was like when I drank versus what I was like when I didn't, and how can I maybe prepare myself. And one of the things, when I was showered and shaved and teeth brushed and had on fresh clothes and did a good day's worth of work and maybe had exercised and done some eating right or through the day, I had a lot better chance of not drinking because I had pride, I had momentum, I had put myself in a position where I didn't want as much. Don't get me wrong, it still happened, but I had a better chance of not drinking than when I was in the clothes that I slept in. I hadn't taken care of myself. I did a lousy, didn't work out, didn't do a great job at work. Then it was very easy to just, grab the beer. So it's kind of, part of that is getting yourself in a position when I guess those times would arrive, I have a better shot of getting through them.
Yeah. That routine is so important. I make sure my dishes are done before I go to bed and the sink's all clean. And so when I get to the kitchen in the morning, I have a clean slate, wash my face before I go to bed. You just kind of have to show yourself that you're worth it, right? Just taking basic care of myself and my surroundings was something that I didn't do for a long, long time.
Does Cruella did Cruella take care of you?
Well, I thought she did.
I love this Cruella thing. I know we're out of time or at the top of the hour, but I love this because look at what Cruella did to you or tried to do to you. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a good name. Now I know a guy like that name. I can't name it that. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out, now that'll piss off. I can't name it Steve because I know it's Steve and he'll be offended. So, so I got a little digging to do, but I will get back to you with his name.
It's helpful. It is.
It is.
It's helpful to have that mental image. And my therapist a long time ago suggested that I talk to her, you know, when she talked to me, that I needed to talk back. Right. So, my friend Susan, my Irish friend Susan, says, "Not today, lady, not today." You know, she says, "You need to say that every day. Look at the sky and say, 'Not today, lady.'" But my therapist said, "You need something like really harsh, like 'Not today, bitch.'" So
yeah.
That's
get pissed at it. And you know what? The more you get pissed at it and tell Cruella, sit down and shut up, she's getting weaker and weaker, and smaller and less powerful, and to the point where, you know, flicker away.
Yep.
Get out of here. You're a new, you know, I didn't go home. I love it. Hey, hang on, Sherri. Thank you so much for being here. Unbelievable. What a great start for the weekend. Just amazing. We will see everyone Tuesday night. I saw a couple people that were on the that popped up on chat that I did get notice that you would like to be on the panel, and I am thrilled with it and will be. We're going to start doing the Tuesday nights panel discussion and just kind of questions about topics that we all face every day. And you covered a bunch of them, Sherri. So you'll be back doing the panel. I don't care whether you like it or not. It's a mandate. I signed up for you. I forged your name. But we'll be doing that Tuesday night panel, and then we got some other good, great guests coming up. So thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will talk to you soon. We'll see you.